Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're doing our first impressions of Tikal. Not Tukal,
No.
as we have done a couple videos talking about calling a collection. But yeah, this is a game from Kramer and Kiesling. It's the kind of the duo that does quite a few
Yeah, they
games
do a lot
together.
of games together, especially the Mask series of games, I think, is Tikal, Cuzco, and Mexica.
Yep.
And I think they previously had different names and were now reprinted with those names under Super Meeple, which makes a pretty nice production for these games. We had played Cuzco before, we actually owned that one, and enjoyed it quite a bit, and ever since that I've had my eye on the other two, and they looked like they each had amazing components as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting this one for Christmas, and
Yes.
yeah, we ended up playing this. We are in Florida currently, so
Yes.
it's a little different setup.
It is a little bit different.
Decided to play a bunch of games before you went back to Minnesota. This is one, and we're giving our first impressions.
Yes, so kind of like Cuzco, or I guess I don't know Mexica if it's similar to that one. But if you've played Cuzco before or some of these types of games, this is kind of a action point game where you're given 10 points of action, things you can do at the beginning of your turn, and each type of action you take costs a different amount of points, and then you kind of use up as many as you want. You probably typically going to use all 10 of them, but you could choose to use less if you wanted. And then this is it's got an area control element to it, very similar to Cuzco. I would say it reminded me of it quite a bit in certain ways. And then you are trying to, there's some set collection of some idols in the game, and then you're also building up kind of these, I don't know what temples sort of things that are making them worth more and more points as you're building them up. And then you're potentially claiming them, or else just trying to control them to get points. And then there's like a point scoring phase, like three or four times, five times,
yeah,
4 times throughout the game. So then there's a check that happens, and similar to Cuzco, I like that this one has it where it'll check one player after they've done their 10 actions, and then it'll check the other player after they've done 10. So both players could potentially score points for the kind of area majorities. It kind of makes it a lot funner in that way, as opposed to just being checked once and maybe someone snags something from you right at the end. This one gives the opportunity for everyone to potentially get it. You still kind of have to be set up. It's not like, it's just easy that you're able to claim it. But it just gives you that opportunity.
I really enjoy that. That is, everything else is pretty, I think that stands out from most games. The piece that stands out the most for me is that scoring at the same time, but like you get to do 10 actions right before you score individually. So it's really interesting, especially if you're the first one to do it. You might want to spread out and claim a bunch of things, but then you're leaving yourself weak in all of those things, knowing that everyone else after you will also get 10 action points to spend and possibly steal those things, especially at the end of the game. It was that situation where you ended up having to score first, and you're like, well, I could move this here because I have this one won, so I could move everything else away out of here and go and put those towards other temples, but then it's going to be very easy to defeat me when Pepper scores and comes and take that temple from me. I really enjoy that mechanism. It's very interesting. Everything you move just opens something else up for someone else, or frees them up. If you just dominate an area, then they can move theirs out of there without worry because they're not going to take it. It's really interesting story.
I 100% agree that there's that taken or push and pull feel to it, and I really liked this one at 2 players. I'm not sure what the changes are or whatever at 3 or 4 players, if there are any changes. But I feel like that might. I'm not sure how that one would feel. I don't know if we've played Cusco. I think at 3-1. Whoever played at 4.
I don't think so.
I don't know. They would definitely all feel different. I think at those higher player counts. They kind of sing more at 2. But like I said, I haven't played it at those player counts. It just seems like it would maybe, I don't know. if it would be as interesting.
Yeah, just the splitting for the majority seems like that could be a little weird, but it could work probably. I think that the idle scoring, we kind of just ended up because in this one you can trade one of yours or someone else's, and it kind of ended up being a wash between us two. And I feel like it would be that about every time unless you got really lucky with your draws.
Felt tacked on a little
maybe
bit.
with more players, that one would be a little more interesting. That part.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably the weakest part in my opinion. It kind of just feels like it was added on, but yeah, I don't know. With more players, it maybe would feel, but then too with more players, you might just get lucky and get twos, and you're not getting. It kind of depends what comes out, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I really like this one. It's been a little while since I've played Cuzco, but I think this one is a little less of the. I mean, there's still a lot of thinkiness in it if you're trying to maximize things. But this one, I think there's a little less sneakiness. So it's not like you're gonna like that one. It felt like you could still get something stolen from you if you're not fully paying attention. Whereas this one's you can, but you're gonna know.
It's just a pure numbers game.
Yes.
In majority, and I think the other one, I forget exactly how it works, but there's like levels and layers, and I think
so
one on a fifth layer is worth more than four on a fourth layer. I think it works like that, so it is easier to possibly steal something away right from under someone. And this one, you do see it coming, like you said. But yeah, I do really enjoy this one. They do feel very, very similar. And I would say if you want to keep a small collection, you don't need both of them.
No.
They provide the same feel for me, but I do really enjoy both of them, and they do both have something unique. And I really love the paths that you build in this, where all the tiles have kind of paths leading off the edges, which tell you which ways you can go between tiles, and the amount of paths printed on those edges dictate how many action points it takes to actually go through there. I thought that was a really interesting way to build out the board and really make some areas really hard to get to, and possibly make them much better, much easier, more accessible for you versus the opponent. I really like that aspect too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I probably coming in as a first impression, maybe around an 8 for this one. I think I would probably prefer playing this one over Cuzco. I think the table presence of Cuzco looks better at the end of the game than this one. I think this one still looks good, but I think that one definitely looks better. But I think if I was going for something, the extra level of thinkiness, then I'd maybe pick Cuzco. But I think this one is one that is maybe a little bit easier to table than Cuzco.
Yeah, it's hard to not comparing it to Cuzco.
Yeah.
It does give me a lot of that feel, so
good.
I really love that feel, and I would probably give this a 9 then for me. I probably, just because I played Cuzco first, and this one isn't like, this new thing now, I would probably still prefer Cuzco, but definitely got to play them again.
Yeah, but like you said, I think you only need to own one, so maybe look into both of them. They both are I would say they're pretty similar. They're very, they have the same.
Let us know if you played all of them, or if you played Mexica, kind of how that compares to this and your preference.
Yeah, but otherwise, we'll have an unboxing of this so you can see some of the cool components they have, so check out that video, and we hope to see you there, and as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.